push the buzz like rush. Whatever tunes your knees to mush, they hit the lift. Even if you gotta sift through the shit to get to the twist, the smile I hide like it's your very last line. You'll never get another try. Do it loud, do it for the loud, for the here and now.
Well, it's day one, which is Thursday. I got here about 4 o'clock, and of course, through all the conversations and stuff, we just got down here, and it is a long ways out through 3 creeks, and it's basically a 4-wheeling trail that I had to come in. This is where he's setting me up. So I have not set anything up yet. I just took the bike off, and I'm not going to do a whole lot of filming because I've only got about 45 minutes of daylight and a lot of work to get things set up. Since there's going to be some chances of rain, I bought a rope, and I wanted to put it up really high in order to hang a tarp. I need the tarp to protect my tent, but I need the tarp to be so far above the tent that it doesn't obstruct my thermal camera sticking out of the tent. So I thought about how I could get a rope put up really high. So I brought a little 5-pound weight from my weight room, and I will just sling it up there over a branch and let it pull the rope through. We shall see. MacGyver. Oh, no, not like that, Randy. There we go. There we go. And then I can just tie it off. So when it's time to undo it, easy peasy. And I couldn't even get my tent set up, so I just slept in the vehicle last night. Coyotes were insane last night. So this is the location, and it's quite a ways back. I set this, for the first time, I'm setting a tarp extremely high from the ground for my tent to go under, because I need to make sure that I have it set up right for my my thermal camera sticking up out of the tent and still have room to see. I do my timestamp saying that it's 8 o'clock as I'm getting in. All of these sounds here are me setting up the log recorder and then getting in the vehicle, shutting the door, giving my timestamp at 8 o'clock. And then after that, you see a lot of nothing. It was a very quiet night. And then you see these, we've got some sounds coming in here. This would be about 11 o'clock. Around 3:30 a.m. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a woodpecker. But if you wanted it to be a Bigfoot, it could be, if you tell your story right. That's all funny. But anyways, it's overcast here today, sprinkling on and off. So, you know, here's the campsite. There's a bunch of, there's a field of pine trees over there that have been planted, and they look like they're about maybe 15 feet tall. the whole field. So that's, you know, the owner says that, you know, the Bigfoots here like to come in through that area because of the cover. And it seems like maybe if I can get the drone up, that there might be, you know, good visibility looking straight down on that field of trees as far as finding heat signatures, since the trees aren't incredibly tall. So that's viable, except I don't really have a place that I can launch the drone around here. I've got so much canopy. I'm gonna have to really search and try to find a place that I can send the drone up, maybe out over here, you know, but it's not gonna be easy. Here's there's a dry creek bed over there that runs up, you know, that way. I did have to cross 2 wet creeks and a dry creek to get in here, but last night I got the whole canopy set up, and good thing I did, because I needed it, because it did start sprinkling this morning. And I also set this canopy up, but now I still need to get my tent set up, so I'm gonna have to clear some of this debris, get my saws all in here and clear some debris to get my tent set up, and then that will be the last step to having everything set up for what I need. The coyotes sounded off really crazy last night. You know, while I was sleeping in the vehicle, I had a log sitting out with the headset run through the door, and so I was laying in there listening, and it was really very bright. I mean, I could see into the woodline very, very well, but I was really tired. Didn't get much sleep the night before, in anticipation of getting out here and then getting up early and driving for 6 hours. So I was tired, but I slept till almost noon, so should be good. You know, may have a couple of days of off and on rain. Nothing, no heavy storms, I don't think, but rain at all is kind of a pain in the butt. I mean, you're not going to be able to get any good firewood or anything like that, so that might be out of the question with the wet wood. But I'm excited about the location. I'm excited about the setup that I'm going to be doing, so we will go from there. Well, let's go ahead and get this thing set up. And now that I've got the carpet in, I don't want to track in a bunch of debris. So I'm going to put on my flip-flops so I can kick them off as I'm bringing stuff in. Keep everything nice and tidy. I say that, and then when I slung my boots in here, they brought debris in with them. Nobody wants to see that bull crap. I normally bring this in pieces, but since I was sleeping in the vehicle last night, it's all set up already. Mattress is blown up. So how do I want to do this? Yeah. We're going to set it this way. Oh, and my blankets will be at this end. Well, if it's got to rain, it really couldn't have worked out better. I was able to get the tarp all set up, or the canopy all set up last night with an extra tarp over the top because I knew it was going to rain at some point. Got up this morning. I'd already set everything up even after dark. I was tired. Didn't have my tent set up at all, but I did have the big canopy set up way up in the air in preparation for having the tent set up, knowing that it's going to rain for, you know, off and on 2 or 3 days. So I feel very fortunate. It started sprinkling as soon as I got up around 11, 12 o'clock. And so I hurried up and got the tent set up. It looks like everything's going to stay dry. Of course, it hampers a whole lot, you know, until it passes. I'm going to have to let it pass. So until then, you know, it'll just be hanging out here doing things, setting some things up. But you can see how high that tarp is. I had to use a ladder that, you know, that opens up to get it up that high, but the tent seems to be staying dry. The water's flowing off the back corner on both back corners, so everything is good. Now I can get my tent set up to be able to see with the thermal camera. I'm very excited about that. Now I'm going to mixing me up a bowl of chili. Nice bowl of chili on a cool, wet day. I might open me up a book and set in here. It's about 2 o'clock right now, so I really only have about 4 hours before dark. So I need to make sure my tent is set up tonight for thermal camera. Last night, all I had out was a recorder while I was sleeping in the car, so or sleeping in the Explorer. So I heard a lot of coyotes. And they seemed very close, very loud, very vocal. And I heard some other things that would make me wake up and say, what was that? So I don't know. I'm gonna have to listen through that and put that on and see what all was there between the coyotes and things. So I'm very excited. You know, being my first night in and only having been here for a few hours before I climbed in to go to sleep or at least lay down and prepare for the evening, didn't give anything out in the wilderness time to really know that I was here. So hopefully it'll just get better and better. But oh my God, this chili smells good. I can't wait. Yeah. I think it's going to be good. Get past this rain. I had to drive through a couple of creeks to get here. I don't need those creeks to be up, you know, because of any rain. So, all right, we'll see how it goes. Next step, it's after 3 o'clock. Well, it's 4 o'clock. So I need to hurry up and get this set up for tonight. Most of you guys are aware of how my thermal camera is set up, but when it comes to these Coleman instant tents, they're great. First of all, they get set up really easy, and they have these vents at the top that you can unzip, and it's perfect for my camera setup, for my thermal camera setup. I've got my thermal camera on the pole right next to my bedding area, so I can easily just reach down and spin it whichever way I need to go. And here's the beauty of this setup. I've got this table, this small table set up over the head area, the area that my head is going to be at on my sleeping pad. And these black moving blankets. These are made for movers to wrap around furniture. So they're a little bit heavy duty, very thick, so light won't penetrate them. And I can drape it around the table, and my head will be under there with my monitor. The monitor for the camera goes on this little setup here. And the reason I have it on this setup is because now I film the monitor with a GoPro camera that is positioned just in front of the screen. So I can pick up audio as well as the video. And the video is much clearer coming on a GoPro than it used to through the 12-volt system DVR. So anyways, so I'm going to go ahead and set that up. It's going to all be set up under here and with the blankets around the table, so that when I'm under there with the monitor on, there's no light emanating from my tent. And it will just be totally blacked out tent. And if anything happens, I can focus in on it, hit record, and then you will see the plans that I have. Well, I'll just tell you the plans. The plans are, and these are based on things that I've had happen, like at the Chickasaw Park and things like that. What part? So let's just say I feel like there's a Bigfoot out here somewhere doing something, making noises, throwing rocks, whatever. How do you get out of the tent without alerting them the moment they hear you start to undo your zipper? The zippers are so noisy and they're long for the whole door. It's exasperating how when you're trying to be quiet, but yet that's how you got to get out of the tent. The moment you start doing that zipper, something will vacate or go into hiding mode or whatever. So here's the plan. Let's just say I see something happening. Rocks are being thrown. There's clearly something out here doing something. This is my plan. And I talked with Todd Gatewood a couple days ago about this, about how do you make the next step to communicate if they keep coming in and wanting to communicate. And so I'm going to use the clamps to clamp my door shut rather than the zipper, so that just these little handheld clamps are going to, 3 or 4 of them, keeping the door closed with that. And I've got carpet on the floor of my tent so I can get up and move quietly. Let's just say I see something with my thermal camera. Then I will ease myself. I'll point the camera knowing that it's recording some area out there, and I will undo the clasp very quietly and immediately step out. That's the moment, if there's a Bigfoot around, that's the moment he knows I'm out. There's no warning. There's nothing he can do to vacate. And most of the time, I think they go into hiding mode. If you step out and all of a sudden he doesn't know what to do, I think they're going to go into motionless hiding mode wherever they happen to be at. So I'm going to walk out knowing that I'm in the field of view of my thermal camera, and I'm just going to get down on the ground. I'm assuming I should probably just be in my underwear. Clearly you can see that I'm unarmed, and I'm going to get down on the ground, and I'm going to have my head down, and I'm going to open up my palms and put my palms out and see if that doesn't instigate something. I need them to immediately see that I'm not dangerous, that you can read me like a book, because all I'm going to have on is like underwear. But the thermal camera will be filming the whole area that I'm going to be squatting down in and down on the ground, head down, palms out, palms up. And then the ball will be in their court. If they really want to communicate, I can't make it any easier than that. And that's all I can think of is what rock throwing is. I don't know why they would spend so much time throwing rocks for such a long amount of time. I don't think they're trying to gauge your reaction, because then why do they need to do it all night long? Can't they just figure that out with the first couple, 2 or 3 rock throws? Why is it something that just goes on and on and on? You got to think deeper than that. It can't just be what your reaction is. So I'm trying to set it up to where when I think they're around, and again, we don't know if that's them doing these kind of things. We just don't know. We assume it's them because we haven't had the sightings yet that include those So I'm going to step out and see if I can initial the next phase of. I'd love to have one step out. The only way he's going to step out is if it's comfortable, and the only way I can make it comfortable is to expose myself in a way that they know I'm not there to do anything but communicate. So we shall see. All right, so the monitor is set into its bracket, and then we line the GoPro camera up, fresh battery in it, tested it out, it's ready to go, and it can be pivoted in front of the screen to film the whole screen. Tangled cords has always been my downfall. All right. I do want this cord to be out of the way. All right. Gonna need to have the battery power down there. There's the battery. The juice for the camera. Here's the way it's set up. There's the table with the black blankets all over it, completely blacked out. When I'm up underneath it, I can have light on, whether it be on my phone or the monitor of the thermal, and be completely blacked out from something outside the tent looking in. So that's how it's going to be set up. I can now move on. Night is moving in, so I'm going to set up this log with the 100-foot cord because I want to set it some distance away from the tent. Okay, I gotta test it, make sure everything works, the recorder works. And I've got last night's audio here that I need to go over. So let's put the headset on, test it out. Testing. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, very good. All right, so now we'll go set it up. I thought maybe these logs out here, these broken off trees standing up might be a good place to put it. Because what I want is I want to hear up there on that ridge, and then you've got this creek running through over here, so this will probably let me hear both of those areas pretty good, the creek and the ridge. So sitting right there, that'll work as long as my cord reaches, and it should. La la la, la la la. 30 minutes later. That and the headset sitting in there ready to go. All right. She's way out there. You can see it. You can see it sitting on that log or stump. Yeah. Anything come in that area or up there, I gonna get you. Well, it's about 20 till 7 o'clock. One more time. So I'm going to give it till 7 o'clock, and then I'm going to walk out there and turn on the log recorder, parabolic, and then I will head back into the tent, and that's where I will take my coffee and I'll have a good book to read. That's where I'm going to be monitoring from about 7 o'clock. And the reason I'm waiting until 7 o'clock to turn the log on is because the recorder lasts almost 12 hours. So 7 o'clock is when I'll start it, and it'll last till 7 in the morning. So that's the plan, and I will not leave the tent unless I hear something. A little after 7 o'clock, and you can see that it's misting or raining. So there's the tent. I'm gonna go ahead and go out and get this log started. The leaves are all wet, so hearing something walking around is going to be very difficult. But if there's anything dramatic, like a dramatic noise, I'm sure it'll all be, we'll be able to hear, you know, maybe a vocalization. That would always be interesting. All right. All right. Come on now. Let's turn you on. Record. Turn that bad boy on. Oh, why? Why? All right, come on. Everything's getting wet. All right. So if we can get a vocalization, that would be great. I don't think we're going to hear a whole lot of movement, but we shall see. Well, it's a little after noon. I stayed up late last night. Not a whole lot happening. It rained, and it rained, and it thunder boomed. And I mean, even the guy at the front of the property, one of the thunders made him text me and was like, "What was that?" But there was some rolling thunder and some downpours. So thankfully everything stayed dry, but the table where I had my 5-gallon water jug sitting on the corner of the table, the ground got soft underneath it, so the table sunk because of the weight of the 5 gallons of water, and it tumbled off. And I had the lid loose. In order for the water to flow, you have to have the lid loose to let air go through, and it tumbled, so it's completely empty now. It was laying on its side, lid off, completely empty. There goes the bulk of my water. And you can hear that the creeks are up. The dry creek that was dry you can hear the water running. So it was, I'm laying there in my tent with all this rain gushing. Fortunately, I prepared, you know, I put the extra tarps on. I thought it was just going to sprinkle off and on, but so I prepared for it, and I got, you know, extra tarps all over the place. So everything stayed dry. But man, What a nightmare. So now, fortunately on my water issue, on my way in, I stopped at Dollar General and bought a few gallons, you know, so that'll make do, because I may be locked in here for a few days, because there was a couple of creeks that had water in them that I had to get through to get here. And then this one here was dry and it's running, it's raging. So I would imagine the other two creeks are pretty high. So I don't think I'm going to be even attempting to get out for a few days. I mean, I had planned on staying here for a long time, but not without any water. So I may have to ration the three gallons that I have for coffee and stuff, and I might have to ration it out. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully things will dry up and I can start getting out and scouting around and see what's going on. Well, while I got my coffee on, or I've got my coffee done, so I got my coffee with me. I'm going to stroll on down here to this dry creek bed after last night's rain and see just how much water has come down out of the mountains. Remember, this creek was bone dry. And I thought it would be great to walk this creek. Look at that. Folks, it looks like I'm going to be stuck here for a few days. There was 2 wet creeks, and then this creek was dry. I can only imagine those wet creeks are rolling. You know, I'd planned on staying here for a while, but now I may have to stay here for quite a while. I may not be able to get out. You know how hard it is to get cold butter on toast, especially when you're camping, without tearing up the bread. So I just lay the butter in the shape of the bread piece on the napkin, and then just put the bread on it, and then flip it over, and then let the bread melt, or let the butter melt on the bread. I caught a bee earlier flying around my grape bag, and some of the grapes were starting to get a little soft and mushy. So I think the bees might be getting a little desperate for their winter hibernation, if they hibernate at all. But so I put some grapes out. Hopefully he'll come in here and get some whatever he needs for his energy level. But I am going to, I went out, found a spot that I could launch the drone. I spent about an hour cutting, took my cutters and my sawzall out there to try to clear an area in this thick underbrush. I believe I've got an okay place set up, so I am going to take a tarp out there, set it up, and then we will launch the drone. Here. I don't think it was over here. Well, now I can't even find it. Where is it at? Ah, here it is. Yeah, you can see this. I really cleared this out. So let's lay the tarp out.
Start recording.
All right, I'm walking along the wood line, along these, all of these planted smaller pines. So I'm walking, you probably saw in the drone video where the high wall of these old growth trees are standing. So you can see how tall they are. But I'm just kind of walking along this tree line that separates that field of planted pines from these pines, so I can see the lay of the land in here. And it's kind of open, so it's good open areas where you could walk up here and set up some experiments. So you know, so you see the little bit of a ridge here. The campsite is probably a few hundred yards that way, so that ridge runs along probably down to that creek, the flowing creek. It used to be dry, but so yeah, so I think somewhere back in here, maybe even a little higher up, maybe even closer to that ridge top, is probably where I'll set the tent and the Japanese language up. This time I'm going to use my log that has a game camera built into it, and camo it out real good with branches and stuff. So that's going to be what I try at least once or twice this time around. Somewhere up there, this time with the camera outside of the tent. All right, that log is ready to go back out on its perch out there on that stump, ready for tonight's, with no rain. Maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe something will be up and moving around after that heavy rain all day long yesterday and all night. They're probably ready to get down to some action. All right, we have a change of events here. The owner is leaving in a few hours. It is Sunday morning. There's been more rain here than anybody anticipated. And a sun came out just a little bit yesterday afternoon, but man, it's been rain. But everybody here knows the story of my
water jug falling off the table and getting drained. And so with the guy leaving and the creeks up, there's at least 3 creeks that you have to drive through to get here. And I can only see the creek that's closest to me. So that's the one that I can gauge whether or not I can drive out of here. But the other 2, going down that trail, once I cross this creek, I don't know the shape of those other creeks. And if I had to turn around to come back, I don't even know if I could turn around on the trail. So it's a little precarious at this point. He said that the creek closest to his shop, he'd see if he could get through it with his truck, and if he can, he'd come down here, get my empty water jug and fill it, because he's leaving and I need water. So if I had to direct somebody else down to get down here from this side, I don't know if I could get anybody back in here. Let's just say I've got a friend with a 4-wheel drive truck from Tallahena that would come out here. I wouldn't know how to get him in here on these trails, because you know, there's split offs and you got to stay to the right, and then you got to stay to the left, and then get to this one. So none of this sounds very good. So the best scenario is this guy can get his truck, the guy that owns the land can get his truck in back here. I'm here. I may have to be here till next weekend, but I can't be here till next weekend without 5 gallons of water. So I'm praying that he can get through. I'm walking down to the crossing here, hoping that he can come in so he can get this jug from me and we can get the water. Then he can go on home to Texas. And I'll be here by myself probably till next weekend. You can hear, once again, it's raining. And it might get pretty dicey tonight. Could be a chance of hail. So I've battened down the hatches, got tarps everywhere that needs to have tarps, and I'm in here about ready to watch the Chiefs play football. So, hey, at least I got my plan for today. Can't do much when it's raining anyways, so at least I got some good football games to watch. Guess what, everybody? It is Monday, and it's been about 3 days of rain since I got here. So here's Monday. I got the coffee going, getting ready to make some eggs. It's right after noon. Of course, this is how late I sleep. There's the water up in the creek down there. There's my tent all tarped up. So it's a waiting game at this point. At this point, it's just a waiting game. I've got books to read. I got cell phone coverage, so I can watch stuff on my phone. So it's not uncomfortable. It's just, I just gotta wait. We might have to deal with a little bit of rain into tomorrow, but then it should be clear all the way up through Sunday. Sunny and clear. That'll give me 4 or 5 days, and I'll probably leave on Sunday. So that'll give me 5 days of dry weather for the creeks to go back down. So I hope that's enough, but we'll see. If not, I might be spending my Christmas here. That cup holds 5 cups of coffee. You don't play around when you're out Bigfooting. You need to drink your coffee from a man-sized cup. All right, I don't know if I'm ever going to find any dry wood out here after all this rain. And I got some beef Johnson brats that I may have to go ahead and just cook them up in the skillet. And if they bust open, and it's not as good as busting open on a stick hanging out over a campfire, but if they bust open, then they're ready to eat. You guys can see the thermal camera up there on top of sticking up out of the tent. The visibility is pretty good. It's down at a slight angle, so I can see down in that creek bed and out over to here. And at night when I'm looking out in this direction, I can see the whole top end of the car or the Explorer, and especially that wood line of those smaller pines. Now that's where the owner said a lot of times things will come up in through there. So I definitely wanted to be able to see the edge of those trees, you know, in case anything happens. But when I pan around over here, the tarp gets in the way, so I need to see if I can't pull that tarp up a little bit. It's still a little wet. I don't need to step up very high. So you can see how this end of the tarp kind of drapes down. So I'm gonna try to pull this up a little bit. There, that's much better. See, I undid that rope and from that little tree and stretched it back there to that bigger tree and pulled it higher up using the greatest ladder ever made. You can open it up as high as you want to climb, up to 10 or 12 feet. It is the perfect campsite ladder, easy to pack up and stow away. But yeah, that should give me plenty of visibility, you know, below that upper tarp. And the upper tarp has been fantastic for keeping the rain off the tent. So yeah, I put these side tarps on just for any side blowing rain. Didn't, you know, I just don't like to deal with any wet whatsoever inside the tent. So far it's been nice and cozy in there, and yeah, all good. That's down in the creek bed. And that's the canopy over the kitchen. That's over the vehicle.
pretty good view around the camp. All right, the owl calls are coming from somewhere over there. When I was in the tent last night, it was after midnight, and I heard those two owl calls. And then I took the headset off so that I could hear with my own ears where they were at. And the two owl calls were coming from over in here somewhere. So, very interesting. I've not heard any owl calls at all. And then last night, there were two sets of owls right over here. And it was not a barred owl. Believe me, I've heard lots of owls. It was a regular hoot owl. It was like, hoo, 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 hoo. Just like that. It was just like a regular owl call, but nothing, not barred owl, not anything else. And it was just a very short. It didn't last very long at all, and then it was done. And I've not heard anything since. So that's a good spot, maybe.
All right, there's camp. This is just a four-wheeling trail that I had to drive in on. I'm going down to the creek to get some water. Tonight will be the last chance of rain, so sure will be nice to see some of these water levels go down. This is the way I came in, so you can see why I might be stuck here a while. El agua. This water doesn't look bad. You can run it through a t-shirt and then boil it, and you'd be good to go. I don't see any debris in there at all. But heading back to camp at the base of this mountain. Thousands and thousands of acres of national forest land. I'm at the upper northeast corner of the 100 acres that this guy owns. And this is where the trail ends. There is no trails, no roads, no logging roads. So from this point on, it's just woods. Got the creek on one side, gives a good barrier for something wanting to come in over there. Last night I had something interesting happen right over there. And there's the planted smaller pines that is of interest for the drone flights. So you can see this is a decent location. Right over there. Something was going on last night. We'll see. Gotta listen to it. The first time I get to ride this bike. I've been here 5 days. This is the first time. So let's see. Even though it did rain last night, so I don't expect the water to be down at all, but this is a much quicker way to come down and check it rather than walking, because I'd say it's 1/8 of a mile. Maybe not 1/8 of a mile, but 300 or 400 yards anyways. Yep. Here's a little. Oh yeah, it's up. It's up. It's gonna be a couple of days. Now there's a bunch of water coming in on these little tributaries down the road. I don't know where this water's coming from unless there's a spring seepage. But yeah, I mean, what can you expect? With as much rain as there's been. So at some point, I'm hoping this drops just a little bit. If this drops just a little bit where I can get the bike across, there are places all the way, up until that next creek where I think there was a trail going up that way to like a hunting spot. So there's at least some areas that I can explore. But going back this other way looks like a marsh. So, this is just an old four-wheeler trail that goes up to my camp. But see how that turns into just a big swampy mess? I wouldn't even attempt to take my bike through this, just to see what's beyond that. But yucky. That's the size of a small pond. Jeez Louise. It's going to take 2 or 3 good days of dry weather for these levels to go down to where it's manageable for myself. Oh well. That's life. And that's what I signed up for. The unexpected. It's unexpected, and you got to figure out ways to deal with it. So let's go back to camp. Oh. There's the edge of the big mountain. I'm right at that edge.
For the heat